Well, no, try this.
I'm not good.
Based on what's happened to you, based on your experiences that have admittedly toughened you up a little bit, what would you advise somebody to not do?
Trust.
Welcome to the Beacon House Podcast, recorded live in Knoxville, Tennessee.
And that's when the cop reassured me that I was, in fact, not a doctor. Stop it! We have to start over.
No, I'm not doing it. No, I'm not doing it. I'm keeping it. I'm fucking keeping it. Folks, welcome to the special
It's not that.
Valentine's Day episode.
It is. I misheard what you said.
I thought I said cock and not cop. But that's when the cock reassured me I was not a doctor. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
See you guys next week.
Yeah. Oh my banana.
I give up. If you intro the show, please.
Welcome to the Beacon House Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Casey.
I'm Spence.
I'm laughing stock.
This is the special Valentine's Day episode of the Beacon House Podcast, you guys. And hopefully, if this goes well, you guys are probably just leaving our live show at Central Depot.
And you downloaded this at Central Depot and on your way home.
I'm Hunter.
This won't be out that early. Well, no, that's right. It comes out that night at 11:30.
Yeah.
You might not. We might even still be playing. You don't even know. Who knows what's happening that night?
Thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah. So
Leslie, did you enjoy it?
I zoned out. What?
That's all right. That's generally how I feel too when we start talking. We actually have a very special guest with us today. Our guest is none other than, we talked about her a lot on the show. She's our frame of reference for things, all things health oriented and nutrition oriented. It's Leslie Payne. Leslie, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, I'm honored that you guys asked me to be here.
We are glad to have you. Also, it's worth noting that Leslie is a brand ambassador for a very special line of products called Coffee Over Cardio. And can you tell everybody a little bit about that?
So it's this company called Coffee Over Cardio, obviously. They have all these special flavored coffees, so it's like chocolate donut or cinnamon roll. They've got dark roast, light roast, whatever you're into. But they also make these really cool creamers that are loaded with like the MCT oil and everything for keto.
Yep.
They're like 20 calories and just there's nothing in them bad for you, pretty much.
That's awesome.
So, and it's just a dry powder, so you don't have to refrigerate it. It's dairy-free. It's great for you. Kickstart your morning, and everything is just delicious. That's
amazing. And don't you have a deal with them where if somebody uses your code, they will get a discount if they order it online?
Yeah, absolutely. So that code is 10 Leslie, Leslie, runs, and you just enter that in, you get a discount, save you some money, and I think you also get free shipping with it as well.
Check it out, you guys. Coffee Over Cardio. Go look it up.
So I can drink this coffee instead of doing cardio.
I don't think that's how it works. I just think it's preferred over cardio.
Okay. I can't.
Casey,
I've talked about it before.
Casey.
I want to be able to run because I used to run cross country, but I have really bad shin splints, and I'm sure there's a way to get around that.
Okay, so
you're talking to the expert right here.
No, it's funny though because I was listening to your all's last episode, the I'm Not a Doctor episode, and I heard you say that and just instantly got mad because I hear that excuse so much of like shin splints.
Oh, suck it.
Yeah, I hear it so much about you can't do it because this or you can't do it because that, and there are so many other ways around it.
I know I can bicycle.
Eat
and
shit,
swim.
Casey. We should have brought her on sooner.
I can bicycle and I can swim.
Well, it's not even that. Like you can run. Like there are things that can help you, especially like treadmill. If you get shin splints really bad, treadmill running, it's lower impact, so you get more cushioning. It's less likely to give you shin splints. Also, like compression sleeves and things like that will keep everything sort of compressed.
Yeah.
Also, just walking to start.
Yeah, walking to start, not pushing yourself too hard. That's really the main thing.
All right, fine. I'll start running.
There we go.
No.
Yeah, I'd be terrified.
No.
Wait, what is your?
I wouldn't even.
What is it like? Describe, please.
Dude, if I walked by a gym and I just saw her in the gym, I'd just keep going. I'd be like, I'm waiting until nobody's in there.
What is it like? What do you mean?
How many miles?
Because
do you
they're
run?
intimidated. Yeah, that's what it means.
Oh, okay. On average, like per week.
No, per day.
No, per day.
Oh, per day. It varies. It varies on what I'm training for. So anywhere from 5 miles to 15 miles.
Go ahead, Hunter. You want to run that?
Absolutely.
Ugh,
It'll
no,
clean
you
my
wouldn't.
blood. It'll
No.
clean my blood. Well, we're not going to. Diabetic blood can get sticky if it doesn't move because the sugar content. Well, I like syrup in my veins.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I actually
Fun
didn't
fact.
know that.
that would explain a lot about your behavior.
Why?
At least I didn't have a cock reassure me that
You know
I
what?
wasn't a doctor.
The episode's not over yet, Hunter. You never know what a cock might do throughout. Okay, so anyway,
This is inappropriate talk in front of a lady, guys.
that's true. Hunter,
But in
please
front of a
excuse
friend?
yourself.
In front of a
Leslie,
friend.
Leslie was like, I've heard worse from better.
Leslie and I have a lot of the same friends. She's got a thick skin, I'm sure. So, all right. So look. So it's Valentine's Day. What do you? How do you guys feel about Valentine's Day? Everybody
Hate it.
You're no way Valentine's
Of
Day.
course you hate it.
Don't bury the lead.
Because I'm single and fat? No.
But wait. But wait, have you been a fan of it in the past when
No.
you weren't single?
Even when I was like I've had 2 like more than a year long relationships.
Okay.
And in any relationship I've ever been in, Valentine's Day rolls around. They're like, so what do you give me? I'm like, I'm just going to go in and tell you now, you're getting nothing for Valentine's Day.
That's how you handle a relationship.
Because
that's great.
It's great. No one. It's. I can't believe you're
wait a
single.
minute. I will know Valentine's Day. However, I give random gifts throughout the year.
Does that make it okay to tell somebody "fuck you" on Valentine's?
I was
Actually-
actually thinking about this on the way
Let's
over.
get the girls'
like-
opinion on this.
Yeah, no, I was actually thinking about this on the way over because I figured all of you would be like anti-Valentine's Day because most men, realistically,
It's just
hate
a
Valentine's
consumer
Day.
day, though.
I don't hate it.
Okay, but it
Okay.
doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a consumer day.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely like a right way and a wrong way to go about it. So
Okay.
if you're someone who like expects 18 dozen roses and a diamond bracelet and all this shit, then maybe you should dial it down a little bit. But I don't know. For me, like I love Valentine's Day because I think it's not an excuse, but a reason to just say something nice to someone, even if it's just a friend or even if it's your loved one or something. It's a day to like let your loved ones know, like, hey, you're appreciated. And it doesn't have to be an expensive gift. You can just get them a card and say, hey, just want to let you know I love you. Happy Valentine's Day.
That's really sweet. I agree.
But do you have to do that on a particular day? Can't you just do that on any day?
Well, no.
I mean,
it's
yeah,
a
you
rallying
can, but it's just kind of
But
a.
this just reminds the bad boyfriends stuff.
I mean, I guess so. Yeah.
This reminds the bad boyfriends that today's the day to do that, please.
Well, and the thing about it too, I'll tell you another. Like, I think a lot of people, and I'm not saying you do, but a lot of people use that as an excuse. They go, "Well, it shouldn't just be one day. You should celebrate each other all year.
Right.
You should celebrate your love 24/7."
Which I mean, yeah, you should, but
You should, but I think it's still. I don't think that means it's not okay to like pick a day to celebrate a thing, just like the 4th of July or Halloween or whatever it is. Like, there's sometimes you assign a day to a thing, and everybody acknowledges it on that day. I have a problem with that. I think that because what do you know what? If everybody just said appreciate everything all the time, nobody would appreciate anything. Generally, because you get busy. You go, I got to go to work, and I'm supposed to remember my freedom, and I'm supposed to remember my independence. Also, I enjoy spooky things, and also Christmas, and also bleh. You just give up on everything. But if you go, okay, coming up is this day, I think it's okay to assign a day to just reflect on stuff. Like,
I
kind of
agree.
keeps you organized in a way,
Yeah.
But that said, I don't think Valentine's Day should be an excuse to just not give a fuck the rest of the year. Anyway, Hunter, you're married, so fucking
Gross.
no pressure.
Well, I think that
Does being married change the dynamic of the perception of Valentine's Day?
not for me.
I think
Okay.
I'm just bitter. I think
We
that's
just-
what it is.
I mean, that's
You
that's
think?
fair, but like with us, it's I hate the what you were talking about, like the 18 dozen roses and all that stuff. And luckily, Libby's not like that, and it comes down to just it's a day where we can gather and go. On this day, we're not going to have work in the evening, and we're going to make sure we go out to dinner. We're going to make sure because we live busy lives, and it's a point to go like, hey, you should actually go on a date at some point. And like what she's getting and wants this year is volume 2 of a manga that she's reading. That's it. And I think she probably got me a shirt or something. She normally gets us like matching couple shirts or whatever. So
Aw,
it's small, but like it's about the celebration.
right.
All Libby wants for Valentine's Day is for Hunter to appreciate her deviled eggs more than
He keeps
mom's.
going back to this.
Oh my
He
God.
keeps going back to this. I'm here to tell you it's not a thing, but maybe it's a thing. Well, what do you guys know about the history of Valentine's Day? Do you guys know about like the origin and all that?
I know literally nothing.
I did a little
Zero.
bit of research. I don't know how I don't know how valid all this stuff is.
Does
but
the research say why? I'm going to stop.
well, look. Like many holidays that we observe now, it started out as like a pagan holiday. Same as Christmas. Not that there's not a religious connotation to Christmas, but the date was borrowed from like an old Mithran holiday.
Mhm.
Like if anybody that's like a biblical scholar or historian at all knows Jesus was born in the spring, not in December. But the entire world was already celebrating a big thing on December 25th, and they just kind of borrowed the date.
Yeah.
And that goes back to that when you observe a thing on a certain day, does it have to be that date? Not necessarily. So anyway, the February 14th was originally the day of Lupercus, which is a pagan god of fertility. And apparently, like, all the like mythology around this guy was pretty nasty. There was a lot of like bestiality.
What was his name?
Lupercus. And and
like
February,
lube.
okay, and apparently the founding of Lupercus Temple was February 15th
You can't say that name
Yeah,
anymore.
I can't
because it sounds like
They were-
lube.
Yeah. Just call him KY.
Focus on me. I'm locked in history. Go.
Lupercus.
Yeah, just call him KY from here on out.
So
Fun.
lubing us. That's not true. But apparently they made a temple to this guy. And it was on the 15th, and it was the eve of Lupercalia was February 14th.
Come on.
I'm serious. It says it right there. Well, check it out. Check it out. So you guys are fucking children.
Yeah, that's fine.
For what it's worth,
That
Spencer. I'm
well,
sorry.
okay, wait a minute. That was the Roman version of the same guy that was in Greek known as Pan. You guys know Pan, right?
Yeah.
It was like the half goat guy that had the flute and lured all the people. That was also like a fertility god.
Yeah, the labyrinth.
Pan's
Yes.
Labyrinth. Yeah.
That so
Such
there
a
was
good movie.
that was the whole deal, but it was like apparently a pretty nasty thing, and it wasn't about love and romance or anything. Like it was just about like fornication. It was like a very Caligula style sort of a thing, and then later on it was Christianized by a pope, like all the holidays eventually were. You know,
So is Saint Valentine a real person?
yeah. This is how that comes into it.
Okay.
So basically, so they already had this big thing going on the 14th, and like February 14th was already a big day, this fertility holiday, okay? And then back like the 3rd century, there was a Roman emperor, and I couldn't even pronounce the guy's fucking name, but he outlaws marriage all over Rome because he thinks it makes his soldiers weak. So nobody's allowed to get married. Nobody's allowed to have like a girlfriend, just fucking fight, you know? And so it's this real utilitarian kind of a thing. And then there was a bishop in the church, and that was Saint Valentine. And he was against that. He believed people should still be able to be married under holy law. And so he was performing marriages all like down in the dungeons and like secretly outside of the purview of the Roman emperor, and he got caught. So they threw him in jail. So St. Valentine's in jail. He's still performing marriages from jail. Like people would sneak in there at night and get married. And eventually they were going to put him to death. But before that, one of his jailers, like one of the guards, had a daughter. This is as the story goes. The daughter was blind, and he was viewed as a saint. So he sort of had healing powers and whatnot. Brings his daughter to meet him, and he somehow cures her blindness, and then she falls in love with the guy. And so these two fall in love together. Like he's in prison, and she's the jailer's daughter, and they have this like torrid love affair. And eventually, the Roman emperor has him killed. And his last thing that he requests is like some scribing material, and he writes her a note, like a farewell note. And the very last thing on the note is "From your Valentine." And that was his name. So supposedly that's the idea behind giving like a sentiment and a note or a card or a gift and signing it "Your Valentine." That's where all that stuff comes from.
A magic man put to death is the origin of tarot cards
Well,
in February.
Yeah. He was put to death on February 14th. He was supposedly killed on February 14th, 270 AD.
So it's the day he died.
I guess. And I don't know if that's a coincidence or if they just borrowed the date was already a big thing. So maybe they just...
I just pictured the Pope has a bunch of his saints, and he's like handing out holidays like their jobs. And he's like, Nicholas, you get Christmas. And he's like, yes. He's like, Valentine, you get lubricuses. And he's like, damn it. That is not the one I wanted.
Right.
So, yeah, you get the one with the bestiality. Have fun.
Well,
That's what you get for not showing up on Saturday.
most of the time people have one of three opinions about Valentine's Day. It's either like this nasty, gross, like extremely visceral pagan holiday, or it's this really sweet, loving, like two lovers that can't be together, whatever. Or it's just a commercial cash grab, which a lot of people think it's a totally... But there is apparently some history behind it. It's not just generated by commerce.
But to be fair, like any holiday can be a commercial cash grab.
Fact.
Like literally anything.
Yeah.
I mean, Hobby Lobby and all those art stores, like every single holiday is just decked out with things that you can buy to celebrate said holiday.
Right.
Yeah, every
So-
season is a cash grab.
Yeah, exactly.
That is accurate.
I guess if I need to be mad at Valentine's Day, I should be mad at Christmas too.
And Easter and 4th of July and
However, the best days are the days after when everything goes on discount and you get all this candy just like cheap.
that's actually a fact.
That's true. That's true. Wait till the day after.
Get a bunch of Reese eggs for like 75 cents for a bag. Yeah. That's the real holiday.
So what do you get? Do you think is Valentine's Day bullshit, or is it like is there a substance to it, or what? What do you guys?
I
What's
think
your
it's
feeling?
what you make of it. It's what you make of it.
I think I'm
It's
just
the most
a
vanilla
bitter old
answer.
man.
I stand by my, if you take a piece of paper and write, I love you, I hope you have a great day.
Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's Day. And, like, get me a burger. I'm happy. Like, we can watch a TV show with me that night instead of playing video games. Like, that's pretty much all I need.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
You're changing me. If I can do that, but I think what you described is the problem I ran into of, like, 18 dozen roses.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, right, but
all these just shower me with gifts on this day. And it's like, but everything's so expensive on this day and leading up to that day. How about I do it afterwards?
Well, and it's the same thing with, like, Christmas and stuff. Like, these people that expect just lavish Christmases, and it's just, why don't you just enjoy, even if you don't believe in Christmas or whatever holiday it is, why don't you just enjoy that you are able to set this time and this day aside to spend time with the people that you care about?
Shit,
So-
yeah.
well, in a divided world, there are reasons to bring people together.
Totally agree with that too. I think that's that whole spirit of, like, just being grateful for things and just grateful for a time to not be an asshole one day.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's huge.
I feel like a terrible person. now.
You're not.
You should.
Just because it's Valentine's Day doesn't mean you
Thanks,
should loan
Leslie.
your phone at the grocery store. Okay.
That's probably right. You guys have any Valentine's Day horror stories? Have you ever had a horrible Valentine's Day?
I mean, like I told you, I never celebrated, so no.
I mean, I watched My Bloody Valentine 3D, so just
That's pretty good.
Good.
Dude, I remember one time, a long time ago, it was Valentine's Day. I wasn't dating anybody that year, and, like, I was crazy busy. I don't even remember what day of the week it was, but I was running errands like fucking crazy, and I had to go by a bank, and I ran into a bank to, like, make a deposit, and I was trying to fill out the slip, and there was, like, all the tellers were, like, women, and I was there, and I was like, oh, God, does anybody know what the date is today? And they all stopped, and the whole bank just stopped, and they went, and there was this big gasp, and I was like, why, what's the matter? And they were like, it's Valentine's Day, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever.
What day is that?
Yeah, what day is, so what is that, February 9th, or what the fuck day is this, you know, like,
Oh, man.
the look of shock on all these women's faces, and I was like,
One leans over to the other woman. Is like, clearly he's single.
yeah, either that, or they were like, somebody's going to be mistreated later tonight, like, there's someone unlucky out there, and I was like, what the fuck, man?
You walk through the door and it is an extravagant Valentine's Day that's been thrown for you.
Have you ever tried to
What's
do,
going
like,
on?
something really elaborate for somebody on Valentine's Day, and it just bombed? Have you ever had anything like that?
no, but I've been on the opposite side of that.
Tell
where it was
us.
Like,
So
I've had
you-
someone, like, do something really, really nice and sweet, like come home and dinner's made and there's flowers and just really sweet things, and then I have just completely, like an asshole, forgotten, like, what day it is, and I'm just empty-handed. And again, like I said, it's not supposed to be about the gifts, but you can't help to feel like kind of an asshole when
Yeah.
someone goes out of their way to, like, make a day special and you
That's-
forget.
Oh
That's
man,
awesome.
That's all. That's the worst feeling too. Is when someone gets you something and you don't have anything to return. You're like, sorry.
Yeah,
You're like, hold on, let me go to the store real quick. What? I gotta get some sugar. I'll be right back.
I have a quarter in my pocket. Like, there you go.
Yeah, oh my god, oh Jesus,
They
that's
should
pretty
be
good.
grateful for some silver.
I mean, something. I remember one time I was in this band, and we were trying to make this video for one of our songs, and it was like this total DIY, which we do now, but it's so much easier now. This is a long time ago, where we
Not
had to,
better,
like,
just easier.
rent a fucking camera, and, like, one of the guys was at Pellissippi in, like, a video productions
Did
class.
you say DIY?
DIY.
No, he said
Oh.
DWI.
Yeah. DVDA. That's two hands.
Just
No,
get back to the
anyway,
DWI
so
story.
he had rented this big camera from Pellissippi that was, like, it was the size of a fucking Canon, and probably not as good as, like, a smartphone is today, but we had loved this thing. He had to rent it, put a deposit down on it, and it was so he had to, in order to get the video played at Pellissippi, which was our big angle, they were going to play it at school and on rotation, you know, in all the classrooms, and, like, it had to have this social message about something, and so we picked this song, and it was kind of about, like, the marginalization of people that are, like, homeless or like with mental illness and stuff, you know, and they were going to film, like, a homeless guy, like, in a dumpster, which was going to be played by us. And so it was the only day we had to shoot. It was on Valentine's Day, and it had to be edited and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, everybody was dating somebody at the time, so nobody got to spend the evening with their girlfriend. Fucking bunch of women were pissed at us. We were like, we're trying to do this thing. Like, they didn't understand. They didn't care. And, like, we literally spent that entire, and it was raining, and we were out behind this building, crawling around in this dumpster, trying to get the camera. We were all standing in garbage, and we spent the entire Valentine's Day like that. And probably, like, half of us got dumped for it too. Like, not my best Valentine's Day. That's my Valentine's Day horror story.
I don't have one.
I'm struggling to remember my Valentine's
We
Day.
did get the video done, and it did show up Pellissippi turned
Really?
out not to be worth it.
Well,
Not at all.
moral of the story, kids: don't do your projects.
See,
that's the moral of the story.
I have a funny St. Patrick's Day, but
Back out.
we're a month out
Let's
from
just
that.
no, it's fine. Do funny.
I think I've told this story before, where I was seeing somebody who claimed to be pagan, which totally fine, but they love St. Patrick's Day, and I thought that was really funny. And we had this conversation. She's like, "Why do you keep laughing at me about this?" And I was like, "Well, St. Patrick is known for chasing the snakes out of town." She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Pagans. He hated pagans. He chased the pagans out of town. Like, that's what St. Patrick is known for. He ran into town with his Christianity or his Catholicism. Was like, hey, pagans, get the fuck out."
Catholicism, wow.
And they
Yeah.
did.
And then after that, they didn't like St.
How
Patrick's
did
Day
that
anymore.
backfire?
And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
How did that backfire on you, though?
It didn't backfire. I was just,
Oh, okay.
I mean, I got dumped for it, but it didn't backfire me.
Is this the one where Jesus broke up with you?
You don't consider that backfire?
No, I don't. Was that on Valentine's Day? No, that wasn't on Valentine's Day.
That was the girl that,
Yeah.
she told
Okay.
Casey that Jesus told her to dump him.
Yeah, too bad Jesus didn't tell her that I was gonna leave her with the check that day.
I really
That
hope-
is the biggest cop out I've ever heard.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
I can't think of a more legible excuse. So Jesus.
Agreed, but like, what if like we die and I get up to the gates and he meets me there and he goes, Hunter, what if Jesus makes me spend a
Give me
week
that.
in hell? No,
Because you didn't believe
because
Casey.
I didn't believe you, or because we didn't believe her.
Let's hope it doesn't work like that.
I don't think it does.
It's going to say that maybe
Just-
that's not it, Chief. So
I think
Family Guy.
Hunter's hell is gonna be him sitting in this room trying to tell that joke and explain it to it and try to make us laugh with it.
I think
Maybe.
it's going to be being surrounded by sugar-free desserts that are just out of reach.
Well, I'll tell you. What do you think is a fair? Like, this is a good question. a good question for Leslie. What do you think is a fair amount of? And obviously, you said that something real simple is nice to do on Valentine's Day, but it could be more elaborate. What do you think is a fair amount of things for somebody to expect from their partner? And part two of that question: do you think this is for everybody too? Do you think it's okay for the girl to expect more than the guy, and should the guy expect anything? Because I feel like there's kind of, don't you feel like it's more of a holiday for women? I kind of do, but
I think the expectation.
Give me your
is that,
Gillette
yeah.
razor right now.
I'm just saying.
No, I'm throwing it in the
That's a
trash.
No, okay, so I'm going to answer part B first.
What, well, I was going to say,
because-
when's the last fucking time a guy got mad because he didn't get a box full of chocolate hearts?
Well, I think maybe you should. Like, it's not a holiday just based on women. I think it's based on mutual love and appreciation for, your partner. So it shouldn't just be for the women. So, but that goes back into part A, where I don't really know how to baseline, like, expectations.
Sure.
For me personally, like I said, it's something really simple. Like, just give me a little bit of your time. Like this Valentine's Day, I work. My significant other works, so we'll probably do something a couple days later to celebrate, like a late Valentine's Day.
Sure.
So it's really just about setting aside time to just show your partner that you appreciate them. So
Quality time.
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
you could have already spent Valentine's Day together at our live show right before
That's
this episode came out.
which I will be there.
That's
Zing.
I will be there.
That's it.
And
That's
bring
it.
him along too.
He works.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I think. That's smart too. I've seen couples get real bent out of shape. Like if one of them had to work on Valentine's Day, and like I don't think you have to. I think it's okay to celebrate it like the next day or that weekend or the weekend before. Like I think as long as you just get together and do it, you know what I mean. I wouldn't. I know that I've had jobs before where I had a hard time getting that day off, and I've been dating people before that were kind of shitty about it. And I'm like, I don't have the same, like, sometimes I work at night. Sometimes it's not the same. And they work at like a fucking office that closes at 5 every day. Like, well, all the other girls going out tonight. And I'm like, well, fucking, you know what I mean? Go out with them. I can't help,
No, I refuse to ask off for Valentine's Day, nor would I expect anyone to get off work for Valentine's Day. Would it falls on a Thursday this
Yeah,
week?
Thursday.
Yeah, no.
That
So,
just
I mean-
happens to be my day off, so it worked out.
That
This
works
year,
out.
But
That works out. But I would say to anybody listening, like, if you've got a significant other, spouse or whatever like that, give them a little leeway. They may not be able to get that day off. And, give them a chance to make it up to you or something
this
like
is
that.
really kind of breaking down into: are you with somebody that you should be spending any time and effort with, or should you get rid of them and find somebody else?
Yeah. What do you think is how shitty can somebody be over Valentine's Day before they're the wrong person?
And also on that same topic, though, if you as a couple have a mutual understanding that you don't want to celebrate Valentine's Day, then that's perfectly fine. I don't think it's something that you have to do. So if you have that communication where you're just fuck it, we're not doing Valentine's Day, then that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But I mean,
that's how my last relationship was. Is right the first time Valentine's Day showed up, the first year, I was just like, this is how I feel about Valentine's Day, and they went, yeah, I can see that. And I'm like, so I really don't want to celebrate it. Like, I'd rather do things before and after. And they're like, sounds great.
yeah, and I think that's totally reasonable.
Sure. Let me ask you this: if let's say you were with someone and you hadn't discussed it, you never talked about Valentine's Day ever, and it's coming up, and then no talk about it happens at all, okay? And then the day comes, and then like they just don't do or say anything. And you hadn't talked about it? Would you think like, wait a minute, should I ask, or would you just go, okay?
I don't know. For me personally, I think I would just like that would be like a newer relationship. I think.
Yeah,
like
I think, down the road, you would go, hey, we were hanging out Wednesday, but you didn't say anything. You knew that was Valentine's Day, or you just not like? Could you not say anything if they just ghosted it
and then hide it? And if they didn't mention it, I would just no. If they didn't mention it, I would just save it for like a birthday or something.
Cool.
But if they mention it, I'd be like, I got you something.
Sneaky.
I don't know. I think I would be more worried about that couple's like communication skills at that point. How have you not talked about this?
I'm a bigger fan of the open communication. If the day hit and you realized and no one was saying anything, I would just,
oh shit, it's Valentine's Day.
Hey, do you care? And if you care, what do you want to do? Well,
sure.
Yeah.
Sure, I get it. And I realize that it is a sticky situation. I think it's a sticky situation as a holiday where you're supposed to like have like some kind of a, I don't know, like a variable level of affection. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to measure.
Because it's supposed to be more because of what it is.
Well, just think out how intangible is it? We just go, I love somebody. You go, okay, well, we're in love. Yeah, I love them. I can say all kinds of great things about them. I look at them. I admire. I respect all these things. But then you go, okay, well now, so how do you express that in the confines of like a date or like a movie or whatever happens in the 2 hours on this specific day? It's weird to sort of like encapsulate it like that. I can see the pressure. If you don't have communication, what a bloodbath that could be.
Which if you don't have communication,
shit anyway.
Should be together anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
I see where this is going. Spencer, we're not celebrating Valentine's Day together, bud.
Eat shit. God,
I thought you guys were married.
We are, but I'll get you something after Valentine's Day.
No, you already told me you don't care.
We got all this stuff for the live show.
Clearly, it's all about you, Casey. Clearly, it's all about you.
Live show? Do I need to back out? Is that like a public date? Are you guys broadcasting your date?
This is your son. This is your son here.
I'm just kidding. I got you a bunch of cat sweaters for
Why
your
did you give me
Valentine's Day
diabetes,
that you
Dad?
give your kids.
I accept.
Do what?
God.
Oh, God.
Fucking Valentine's Day.
I really don't mind it. I think it's cute. I think it's, I don't know.
I fall in that, the three categories we're talking about. Like it's either like this gross pagan thing that we shouldn't be observing anyway, or it's like this commercial. I actually fall in the third one. I think it's cute too. I think it's okay. I'm a big fan of love. I'm like a sucker for love,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a sucker for a love story. I'm a sucker for like an emotional turn. I'm a sucker for like music that's emotional and stuff like that. Total sucker for that kind of shit. And yeah, I think it's sweet. I think it's okay to observe stuff like that. I think it's all right to celebrate it,
Well, and I'm also like the type of person that doesn't just limit that day to like a boyfriend or something. Like I will text my best friend and be like, "Hey, I love you. Happy Valentine's Day." Like it's not sequestered to just one relationship. Like I try to show my appreciation to all of the people I care about.
That's big.
Really smart.
That's really smart.
Yeah. I'm mostly just like with holidays that it is a rallying point. It's a beacon in the schedule because of doing all of the different things that I do and trying to be present as a husband and like get Libby surprise things and all that stuff. But I'm terrible at it because I'm so busy running around doing everything else and then coming home. So having a point where it's like, on this day, we are doing this, and I can just clear everything, it helps because then you're locked in and and you're not being distracted by other things.
Well, definitely, if you're someone who has a busy schedule, like, as much as it sounds uncouth or not romantic, I guess, scheduling, like, date nights and things are something that can be really, really important. So I think setting aside time, no matter how you have to do it, is really healthy.
We both really have to. Like, we're lucky enough to have enough free time together we can just decide to. But generally, she works 2 jobs, and I've got my job and then all the side gigs, like the podcast and the band and everything else. So we have to make the time together. That's
right. And that's a real observable thing. I think if you expect a relationship to just feel great all the time without any effort, you're fucked. That's not going to happen for you. It requires a ton of work and a ton of planning and like a lot of like, I think even down the stretch, like a lot of humility and a lot, like, you know what I mean? You've got to be like not so fast to blame, and you've got to be a lot quicker to forgive, and like stuff like that. Wouldn't you say like,
Yeah.
Is there a Scrooge version for Valentine's Day? Because I think that's what I am.
what are you talking?
Like
Are
Christmas, there's
tell
a
us how
Scrooge on-
you're.
The
you're
miner that walks through the caves and kills teenagers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah, yeah.
there you go. There you
It's
go.
even better in 3D.
You're bitter.
Oh, man.
Tell us what's going on. You're mad as fuck.
No, I'm not mad. I just
Are you mad because you're fucking fed up with
He's not
love?
letting you not be mad.
Are you? Well, are you?
I think it goes back to the most
Are you salty
simplest
because-
of Casey feelings about anything is I just don't care.
People care too much.
So you're just apathetic.
You're apathetic.
guess, yeah.
It's not that you wish you had a relationship and you're salty for the absence of it. You're sick of the ones you've had and you're not fucking over it.
Yeah.
Are you truly
That's
apathetic, though, or
respectable.
is it the ambivalence or apathy? I don't think it really, I guess, matters if it is the apathy, but because my thing is like, again, it's a rallying point, so I like it for that reason. But otherwise, it is ultimately just another day, which is how everything works. It's God,
But
I
also
don't wanna
like
sound
Leslie,
super
I
cynical,
like
but-
Leslie's idea of, I mean, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Basically, is you don't have to go all out to show somebody you appreciate them on Valentine's Day, which I find that's fine.
Yeah.
I guess my biggest gripe is when like companies know it's a day that these particular things are being bought, so they jack the price up by 5.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's you bleed someone knowing that they're gonna have to do that. I feel it. So it's not really the Valentine's Day aspect. It's the companies being shitty, knowing full well that people are gonna buy roses. So roses double, like go up times 5 the price. It'll be
so
like
don't buy fucking roses.
right.
That's the thing. So
But
it's
but they're that's great for us. But there are people out there who like their significant other has to have roses on Valentine's Day. So then they are
So dump them.
Here's the question: how do you think people get like that? What is it that happens?
Entitlement.
I guess
That's a
Being
Oh.
spoiled and never being told no.
Like a crazy romantic entitlement
Yeah,
too. Like they just get.
absolutely.
Do you feel like maybe because I feel like there were times when like I've had girlfriends that were sort of like, hopefully I didn't date shallow people, but like there were people that kind of they just had expectations, but it was a lot of it was I feel like came from like who they worked with. Like they would work in like an office. And like all the girls in the office would be getting flowers that day. And if they were the one girl that didn't get flowers, it almost like even if they don't want to be shitty about it, they kind of feel left out. So there's a point where I think even good people can go like, they just kind of want to fit in. I guess that's tribalism, but
yeah.
Well, I also think it has a lot to do with like pop culture. Like you see all the commercials for Valentine's Day. You see all these love stories, movies, novels.
Yeah.
It's all based around this like really weird idea of what love is supposed to be.
Right.
And love is different for everyone.
Yeah.
So how you celebrate it is going to be different from everyone.
yeah.
So I don't think there's a right and wrong. And if you're the only girl at the office that doesn't get flowers, then you might go home and your boyfriend or husband or whoever has made you a fabulous dinner. You never
Right.
know exactly what you're getting into. So feeling sorry for yourself because you don't get flowers is just going to set you up to feel disappointed all
And
day
you get
no
into
matter
that
what you get.
expectations. You get this big
Right.
talk about expectations. That's where I have a terrible problem with that. I don't expect candy and flowers and shit like that, but I like to look forward to things.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the best wisdom you can encounter is like the Stoic stuff. If you follow any of the Stoicism and all that, that's really big these days, especially like on social media and like anyway. But it's all about not having expectations. It's just not expecting anything and accepting everything. And it's supposed to be kind of this ambivalent peace that you can get if you just. But that's tough for me because a big part of like my whole I don't know, like happy thing is knowing something cool is coming up and like looking forward to it. Like so. Anticipation is a kind of I don't know. Do you guys get like that? Or
I
just
don't,
not?
I don't know if I like that though. I mean, I guess in principle, so that you're not
Most people
constantly
go lower your expectations.
disappointed.
Happiness is
Right,
all
but-
about expectations. They say,
But like putting the work into searching for the silver lining will make you a better person too. Like you can, I can't get into details, but like talking about another thing with, I think Libby earlier yesterday, we came down to what we were talking about, and I was like, but you can, and this is a person, but you can apply this. You can choose to be different without, changing everything about who you are. So like choosing to see the good in something or to be joyous regardless. And it's not easy. Like I'm horrible at it, but choosing to be that way instead of just not having expectations anymore, I think is way more important than just not having expectations. Because at that point, where's the passion going to come in your life at all? Like it's good to be peaceful, but how are you ever going to be jubilant or whatever? Help me with words.
Jubilant?
I don't know.
Juju?
I mean,
How
you're
are
the
you
one
ever gonna
that
be
wants to always do the big words, and I'm just like,
Leslie, what do you think
took
about
the
that?
thesaurus away from
What do you
me.
think about expectations and whatnot?
I think it's really good to have expectations, and I think having a relationship without expectations leads to being dissatisfied.
Yeah.
So, but it's, what are your expectations? Like, if you expect a diamond ring every day, then maybe it's a little high.
Sure.
But
Sure.
Right.
if you expect your spouse to say, I love you every morning before they go to work, then that's acceptable. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, you have to find common ground. And you know what? Maybe if you expect a diamond ring every day, there is a person out there who expects to give you a diamond ring every day. So who am I to say, like, what expectations are right and wrong? But I think it's about finding someone who has those same expectations and can give you that and have a common ground.
Yeah, you should be able to recognize that you should not punish the person that you're mad at for not doing that. Go
Yeah,
find somebody
and
else.
I'd say another big one too is to be vocal about your expectations. Like, how can
Oh
you?
yeah, communication, yeah.
Huge. Yeah, and I guess we already touched on that. But yeah, how can you ever expect anybody to do the things you want to do if they don't know? You can't just expect somebody to know. How many times have you heard like somebody go, "I'm not a fucking mind reader," and there's this weird fight between a couple, and it's all just because they didn't go, "Hey, like I really like this thing." There could even be behavior that leads up to that. Like somebody could act like they don't accept a lot of things about you, and you may be afraid to tell them. Well, I kind of like to watch shows, or I like to go on walks, or something like that. If they tell you everything you think is stupid, or like, "What are you doing? You're stupid." What are you?
Yeah.
If you get somebody that's
I'll
shitty,
reiterate, don't be with that person,
Yeah.
dump them.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah, don't ever let anybody make you feel like you're bad or weird, or
maybe it's just the way
the acceptance in a relationship is fucking huge.
It's key. It's like number one.
Number one, that not even because nobody's the same, and you find people like somebody might go, I'm into this weird thing, or what? You've got to go. All right,
Well, that's how I'm with
let's
my
give it
wife, though.
let's give it a whirl. I've never done that, but let's try it out. You can't ever make anybody feel stupid or like
No.
that because some of that stuff is so fucking personal.
And you know what? Even if I do think it's stupid, the fact that you like it, I'm willing to like do that for you. I'm willing to watch this TV show or go to this place or
right.
go to this event or see this band. Even if I don't like it, knowing that you're having a good time or that you enjoy this thing, like that brings me enjoyment because I'm doing this for you.
I
Yeah.
looked for that when I first started dating my wife. Before our first date, the first time we hung out, I was intentionally so myself with all of my friends that if anything was going to be off-putting, and I was upfront about it too. I was like, just if any of it bothers you, you seem cool. Let's just not waste each other's time. You can go and we'll be cordial. But she was on board with everything.
Yeah.
Now we're married. So.
yeah.
That turned out great. What do you
I think my idea, like whenever I'm in a relationship, when it comes to like gift giving, things like that, and expectations, I don't say I'm weird. I really don't know how to put it, but there'll be times where I'm in a relationship, someone mentions something like, "Oh, this movie came on DVD. I would love to have that. Hopefully my birthday or something." The next day, if I have the money, I'll go out and just buy it and give it to you. No holiday needed. And that's how I view, like, you mention something to me, I hear it that you want something. If it's in my budget, it's like, I don't have to wait for a holiday. I can just give this gift now.
Sure.
And then when those holidays do roll around, I might not have as much to give because I spent that little bit of money throughout.
Is that one of your?
budget.
Is that one of your love languages? Do you know about that? Gifts? Sounds like
I
it
think
is.
I am.
If you pick up on
Gift
shit
giving.
like that, you were probably. Did you received a lot of gifts from your parents when you were little, or they gave each other gifts a lot?
They gave it was more of just like, it wasn't giving gifts for the sign of affection. It was just, I heard you that you really like this
Right.
thing, and I wanted to give
Sure,
you this.
sure.
But like if it's like a movie or a TV show, it's like I would go out and buy it and be like, "Hey, do you want to watch this tonight? Also, I'm going to cook dinner and then do stuff like that." Like I just have this weird feeling that I don't have to wait for a holiday to do something nice, even though I know some people wait for the holidays to do that. It's like they bottle it up and then wait for that holiday.
I think
But
it's
I think
okay. I
that's
think both are
different.
okay.
Yeah.
Like I think if you're waiting, if you think I'd look to do this really nice thing.
I'm also shitty at relationships, I think. So
Nah, I don't
I don't
think
think my opinion matters.
I
I'm
don't.
personally a fan of like the small gifts. Like the big elaborate gifts,
Yeah.
they make
Yeah.
me feel really uncomfortable. But like I love the small gifts. Like, hey, on my way home today, I picked you this flower. Like, that's awesome. I love it so much. I'm gonna keep it forever. I'm gonna squish it in this book. I'm never getting rid of it. Like, I love the small, personal little gifts. Like those are
love it.
what make me feel
I love
the
it.
best.
I'm right in the middle. I love the big ones and the smaller gifts and everything in between. I don't care what goes into it.
Sure.
If I like it, and
Big gifts just make me feel awkward.
no,
Yeah.
I understand that for sure. But just like,
Yeah.
because I don't even remember what it
I
was.
keep-
but Libby
oh,
talked about
dude.
the thing, and I was like, don't,
I keep
if I'm
everything.
into it,
Like
just-
like
it's
somebody, a friend of mine. I was out with a friend of mine eating lunch the other day, and the waitress is a friend of ours. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and like she gives a to-go cup, and she just like wrote on the cup like "Have a wonderful day" and like put a heart and everything like
Those
that.
are the best.
Yeah, and I kept
that
it.
stuff is-
It was
Yeah.
so sweet, and I was just like, that's fucking really nice, you know.
Mhm.
And you never know when you're gonna want to go back to something like if you're having like a rotten day, and you're like, oh, fucking everything. I get shitty, you know, and I'll like,
Yeah.
and then I put that cup like right on my nightstand, and it's got a big heart, and it says "Have a wonderful day" and blah blah, and her initials, and I was like, you know, sometimes little things like that will kind of like brighten you up a little bit.
I found my love languages. I forgot I had saved it in my
Oh, do you know
email.
yours? Do you know the love
I
languages?
have no idea what you guys are even talking about.
You've never heard of the 5 love languages?
No.
Oh shit! You should totally take the quiz. Okay, so the
It's
idea.
fun, yeah.
The idea is that, and it's real too. I've talked a little bit about it on the podcast, and I won't painfully make everybody sit through the story again. But I was with my ride or die, Alea Miller. Everybody's seen me hang out. She keeps me totally like on the path. I wouldn't be able to exist without her. She's great. And we were out somewhere, and she's been in this super successful relationship for a long time. Like they're so compatible, her and her boyfriend. Like it's almost nauseating. Like there's no jealousy, there's no backbiting. It's crazy. They're just very, very like they just accept each other like crazy. There's no like anyway. But she was talking about love languages, and they did this thing, and they learned them, and they learned how to communicate that way. And while we were talking about it, the bartender goes, "Hey, are you guys talking about love languages?" Me and my girlfriend just took a class at UT about that. I was like, "What? What the fuck is this they're talking about?" But it's called like 5lovelanguages.com, I think is the little
Yeah.
website you can go to, and you just answer a lot of questions, and it'll tell you what your primary love languages are, which is not
So
just
does it give you like compatibility as well?
no, anybody's compatible. That's the trick, is that everybody's compatible as long as you know which language they have and which language
And
you
so
have.
you can present yourself very clearly.
Okay.
And you also understand how you interpret love.
Well, that's cool.
It's really cool.
It is really
cool.
You're so smart. You would totally love it. But some people, like for instance, the classic scenarios like man and a woman been married for a whole bunch of years, and like they just keep arguing, fighting, and she says, "He never does anything for me," and he goes, "I do everything for her. She doesn't appreciate any of it. She makes me feel stupid." And she goes, "Well, he never notices." But they're just totally missing each other like shits in the night. And one of them's love language will be like acts of service. Like she wants him to come home and help her like clean the house up. And that's how she perceives love. And he's trying to do all these nice things. Like he's giving her gifts and she doesn't care
Right.
because she has a different language. And we mostly get our languages from our parents, usually, or from a role model when we're young. And you usually have a primary and a secondary love language. So you'll score real high on one and pretty high on another. And the other ones are very low.
I think I did the opposite. I think I saw what my parents' love language was, and I was like, "That is backwards. I'm going to go the opposite way."
And that also the antithesis of the thing can be it might work out like that too. But there's what are the 5? There's
I got them right
Casey's
here.
got to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got so the love languages are physical touch, receiving gifts, words of affirmation, acts of service, and quality time. Those are the 5.
Yes.
Can you be more than one?
Yeah, you can
no.
have a combination of
Everybody
I have-
pretty
Because
much
I'm
is,
totally
so-
words of affirmation. Like,
I have
need to be spoken to.
I
enough.
need you to tell me I'm pretty much 24/7.
Or to just talk to you nice,
Yeah,
to say things like, wow, you're so good at this, and like, wow, to acknowledge your efforts, and to go, wow, like, yeah, that's words of affirmation. Or knowing how to, one of the things they said, like, a lot of men don't understand how to ask for things nicely from their wife. Like, they just go, well, it looks like I'm never going to get that thing again. And they're a dick about it, instead of going, hey, I'd really appreciate it if you would.
Or this is something I really enjoyed. Can we do it again?
You did that thing and it was so cool. Would you mind doing that again? Like I really loved that. Just to ask like a nice person, you get way more out of your significant other that way.
So quality time had 12 points. That was the most
For you?
For me.
That means you need
time.
somebody like you need fucking attention. Like anybody listening to this doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
Ouch.
kidding. No, they say quality time is the one where you like put the phone down, and it's quality time is like not watching a show together. It's like there's no like you're talking.
Oh,
You're like walking and holding
Well, I mean,
hands
it
and
can-
like it's like a thing. There's like an interaction.
It says right here, in quality time, nothing says I love you like full, undivided attention.
Yeah.
Being there for this type of person is critical, but really being there with the TV off, forks and knives down, all the chores and tasks that's on standby, makes you feel truly special and loved. Distractions, postponed activities, or the failure to listen can be especially hurtful. And I think for me, it's the quality time is more of like I say something, they don't acknowledge it, or
Yeah.
they don't, it's like I say something, they don't say something back or something like that. My other ones, are basically a tie, except one. So acts of service is 7, words of affirmation is 6, physical touch is 5, and then receiving gifts is 0. I don't like getting gifts. I like giving gifts. I hate receiving gifts.
Interesting.
I like to give people stuff and then not receive any return. Like, I'll give people stuff. I'm like, oh, I didn't give you anything. I'm like, I honestly don't care.
Yeah.
I would say that I would like quality time, but then hearing you explain like exactly what they mean by that, I don't think I would be down.
Because for me, I thought quality time, even watching a show together, I feel like it's quality time.
Right, I think so too. Well, and like half the time, like with me and my significant other, like he'll be playing a video game and I'll be laying on the couch reading a book. And for me,
that's awesome.
That's quality time.
Yes.
You know?
See, I'm the same way. I'd like to just like coexist with somebody, like to just chill and hang out and like not necessarily be up each other's ass, but kind of be doing our thing. And
I think like that pressure of just like, we have to do this thing and like have eye contact the entire time and have these really deep conversations. Like that's just stressful.
That is stressful.
That weirds me out. So I'm wondering why I made a 12 on that.
And if you like people, that kind of happens anyway. Like if you're cool, you're going to have great conversations. You're going to have fun adventures.
Well, and like one of our favorite games to play is like we call it the alphabet game, and we'll literally just be cleaning the house and just start like we'll go with A and we'll name as many words that we can as A, like. And then just go down through the alphabet. So, like, we'll just be going about our daily lives, like, doing chores or running errands, and but still having this, like, bonding thing of this, like, fun game that we like to play.
Amazing. Smart people.
Yeah.
This must be what smart people do.
That sounds like quality time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I think of as quality time.
Or just the general communication, that kind of thing. So that it's worth going. You can take the quiz for free. And I think it's 5languagesoflove.com. If you Google it, it'll come up. But I encourage everybody, like, really, if you're in a relationship, man, you should know, and you should have your partner take it too, just so you know. You may find out something you don't know about them. And like physical touch is the kind of thing that it doesn't have to be just like sexual. Physical touch is one of those where they need to be hugged a lot, or they need to be like, they need to hold hands, or they need to just for you to be close to them because that's how they grew up. Their parents hugged them a lot, and they perceive that closeness as like being loved. You know, so you may not be, and they say the trick of this is when you're not one of the other kind, like people that aren't gift givers, and they find out they're dating somebody that needs gifts to feel thought of, sometimes they'll have to employ like a friend, like they'll have to get somebody help me find something for her. I don't know how to shop for her. I don't know what she wants. I don't know. I don't know how to give her something small, like the flower you talked about in the book. And they have to get a friend to come in and go, okay, try this, try that. So you might have to think outside the box to make your significant other happy. But it's so easy if you know their love language. It's worth checking out for sure.
It is strange that I'm a 12 in quality time because I also enjoy being by myself a lot. But I think that's more of the last 3 years.
They say the quality time is not the amount. They say it's just like the intensity. Yeah, if you've had 5 minutes, but you just like dead on, then that person's happy. Well, if they make you feel really important for like whatever time they have, then you can go be by yourself the rest of the day, but you're totally charged up.
I think it's because you're creative, though. I think that's a shared thing as creative people between the band, the stuff the podcast is doing. Like when we sit down and just come up with stories real quick, as short as that can be, like there's a level of communication that is incredibly locked in. The rest of the world doesn't exist, and then there's a new thing that wasn't there before.
Sure.
I think that's part
and
of
I was
what
also
it is.
having this conversation just the other day, like how important alone time is in a relationship. Like if you spend 24/7 together all the time up each other's asses, that is not healthy. And that's not healthy, like, expectations. Like,
Preach.
You need time apart. You need your own hobbies. You need your own friends. You need to go out and explore and grow as your own individual person. But then, you know, come back and enjoy your relationship together. But it can't be all about this person all the time.
I find codependency super awkward and weird.
Yeah.
And it leads to terrible things, too.
It's like when you notice somebody is super codependent on somebody else and maybe that other person's not back, you're like, ugh. And it's like you notice it, but they don't. You're like, ugh.
You can't make rational decisions if you're like that. You have these rose-colored glasses on, and so everything you do is based on your loneliness or your like inadequacies or your whatever is you're fucked up that day, and you go to that party. Probably even when you should tell somebody to fuck off, somebody that doesn't know how to treat you right, but you're so lonely and so messed up that you cling to them. You know, that's recipe for disaster, and it takes a lot of courage to like. I don't know, to get through those waters or whatever, to just go, you know what, I may have to be alone for a little while, but this is better. And it is. I'm here to tell you, all this talk about love, it's way better to be alone than to be with the wrong person.
When I learned a long time ago, like, no matter how much you love someone, you always have to love yourself more. And that goes with everything.
Yep.
I mean, parents, friends, relationships, you know, spouses. This goes for everyone in your life. No matter who it is in your life that you love, you have to love yourself more, because if you don't, then you will let toxic people into your life, and that will drain you.
That is
Well
100%
said.
true.
Didn't we talk about vampire?
Emotional vampires.
Yeah, that's it.
Mhm.
Emotional vampire.
That's true too. And worse than the emotional vampire, you might run into somebody that's like emotionally manipulative,
Oh, yeah.
that preys on your insecurities, and and there are people out there that know how to do that. And there's a lot of women that really works on. Like if you just like there are a lot of women that respond more to like a guy walking up and saying something shitty to them,
Which baffles me.
which baffles me too. But somehow it makes them want to be needed worse than if a guy goes, "Hey, you look really nice today. Hey, blah, blah, I did all these nice things for you." And they go, "God, what a weenie."
Hey, you look really nice today. I have a boyfriend. Okay.
You know,
It's like, hey, you look shitty in those pants. Love me.
or
Yeah.
they come and go,
Yeah.
"Man, did you have a rough night or something? Can we go out tonight?" Or whatever. But I'll tell you, we're coming near the top of the episode here, guys. Do you guys have any advice? If we had to give people love advice, if we could give a little love advice over the airwaves today on Valentine's Day, what would you guys say?
Be honest and don't be an asshole.
That's pretty fucking good.
Don't look at me. I'm not.
Well,
I'm
no,
not giving any-
well, hey, try
I'm
this.
not good.
Based on what's happened to you, based on your experiences that have admittedly toughened you up a little bit, what would you advise somebody to not do?
Trust.
Yep, there, folks.
Holy shit.
No arguing with that. Casey says, "Don't trust."
No, well, I'm just, don't ask me. I don't want to be asked this question.
Well, no, I largely
I'm terrible with them.
I kind of agree with you. It's hard to trust people after if you've been burned. It's hard to like.
I mean, we've sat down and talked about this before
I
because
know.
of our past.
I know.
And
I'm
our
not-
other relationships. We know, you know what I'm talking about.
So I feel like a good segue with that though is for you guys, if trust is something that's really hard for you, then look at it as, okay, I'm going to trust this person until they give me a reason not to, and as soon as they give you a reason not to, abort.
Yeah,
Cut him out. Yeah.
Cut them out.
Yeah.
You always have to start over.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to
that's true.
just cut him out.
Like, I mean, I've been in relationships before where it's on the phone and it's like, what are you doing? Nothing.
Yeah.
And it's, see, that's fucking shady. Don't do that. It's like, what? Nothing. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, let me see your phone. And I'm like, nope, can't say that. Don't do that.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that's
don't be that person.
Don't be that person.
don't get.
But
embarrassed.
inside your head, you're like, looking at the phone, looking at them. You're like, really? And they're like, yeah. And they pick up their phone, and go and lock themselves in a room. You're like, come on.
Well, there's
Really?
the trust. There's
And
the trust
those are
thing.
those are red flags, and you're
Yeah.
absolutely you're not
Yeah.
crazy for saying hey, this makes me feel really insecure. Those
Yeah.
are huge red
Totally.
flags.
Yeah,
So that's
exactly.
not a crazy thing.
That's always where the communication helps.
Yeah.
That happens a lot with
Trust and
Olivia
communication,
her going,
huge.
I'm getting your gift online. Don't look at me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
had to tell my significant other, hey, it's Christmas. Do not look in my phone. If I hide my phone from you, it's because I'm literally ordering your gift. So
Yeah.
don't be weirded out.
And that's great. I
Yeah.
think Chagall, I appreciate that. That's really sweet.
So trust, communication. Another one of mine would be was what Leslie said: be able to be alone. Like, you don't have to be together at all times. You don't have
No.
to be clingy.
Yeah, and I think you. Well, they say, what is it? What is it? Distance makes the heart grow fonder, or whatever. Like the more time you spend apart,
That's
it's easier to appreciate each other when you do get together. So there's a balance there. I think so too.
Also, are you okay? Like,
Don't.
no,
Yeah.
don't do that. Don't do that. When I was in high school, I made that mistake a lot, and I had to have somebody
What's
sit
wrong?
me down and be like,
What's wrong?
"Don't fucking do that." And I was like, "Got it. Okay, don't do that anymore." And they're like,
Yeah.
"Don't do that. No one cares." And it was one of those things. It was like when you ask somebody that and then keep asking and they're not answering, there's something wrong, but they don't want to tell you. Quit asking that question.
Yeah. I was about to say that's debatable, because I think if one time, an "Are you okay?" that's a genuine concern. But if you keep hounding them, that's when that turns
Especially
into a
through
problem.
text or something. Like,
Yeah.
"Are
Yeah.
you okay?"
You become nosy, and
Yeah. So I think once that's okay, but if it's more than that, then you should just let it be.
I can see that.
Let it be.
Leslie, you have any last words for our listeners about any last overarching themes about love or anything?
I don't.
I think you've said a lot of really cool. I think you've said some very, very smart
And I know
stuff.
at the top of the beginning of the episode, you said that you're honored that we have you on here, but I'm honored that you came on our podcast.
So,
No, Spencer
100%.
texted me last night at 9:30 saying, "Hey, come be our guest," and I was just ecstatic to be here. So
He texted me, and, he
And
was
you
like,
did. You pulled this together at the last minute. Let's give a shout out real quick to our lovely friend Rachel Reeds. It was originally we'd been talking for months and months and months, and she was going to be our guest on this episode, and she got sick, just like all of Knox
Everybody.
County, everybody. Like they closed school for 2 or 3 days.
Hope you're
And
doing better, Rachel.
we sincerely hope that you feel better. And we promise to have you back on, and we'll do another episode about love, and we'll talk about all the stuff you want to talk about.
Not another one.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
If we can get Casey to agree to it. But no, and then literally, like, I had been listening to Leslie, but it's another good time to talk about other podcasts that you've been on. And she was on the I Don't Know How to Live podcast. Our friends, they were so amazing. They were on this show, and like, we love them. And you were on their show, and you talked about running, and it was amazing. And you're so smart, and like, I had so much fun listening to it. So it was like, it was kind of a long-term plan to have you come on our show and just talk about whatever. And this just happened to, all the pieces fell and you pulled it together at the last minute. So we absolutely love you, and we thank you so much for being here and doing it so quick. And
Coffee over
I love
cardio.
you guys.
coffee
Have you
over
seen
cardio.
Hereditary yet?
Yes, I told you I saw it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I really liked it. I thought the
Yes.
ending was a little bit bogus, but overall, like, I thought it was a good movie.
You ready for the next Pet Cemetery? Or the new one?
I'm terrified. Hold on. I don't know how it's going to go.
Okay, no, but my last words literally are, I think there needs to be a balance between caring about someone and freedom. And that's something that I have struggled with in the past, but I've kind of tried to find that balance, but there's a huge difference in care and freedom and not making someone feel smothered. And that's my big tip.
That's true. That's huge.
Send us out, Casey.
Before we go,
Well, I had one other thing too. I wanted to add one thing to that. If I had to give anybody, like, I kind of just want to, like, I don't know what I'm going to say, like, challenge the listeners, or like, this isn't like a infomercial or something, but I saw something a couple months ago on social media, and somebody had put try to love the unlovable. And they put up pictures of, like, all these things that are challenging for us. Like, it's easy to love that person that you're infatuated with. It's easy to love that person that showers you with compliments. But, like, when you think about, like, your enemies, or like the people that are like shitty to you, and it's easy to, like, hold all this resentment, or like homeless people, or like even things that, it depends on how deep your understanding of this goes. But, like, I even feel bad about, like, things like bugs and stuff, that if you have to, like, kill them or take them. But what I'm saying is, like, I think that's huge. Like, it's easy to love somebody that's making you feel awesome about yourself, and they give you all this stuff and whatever. But, like, if you know what I'm saying, if you can apply the same importance to, like, any living thing, if you can. I mean, sometimes you have to kill things, I understand, but like I love the unlovable. Yeah. I feel like that's kind of my thing, and I've been really thinking about that a lot, like, the last couple of months. And
I think that's really good in theory.
There's a lot of levels to it, you know.
Yeah, I think that's really, really good in theory, but I think you can love someone and not respect them. Like,
True.
I love you because you're a human being, and
why point at me?
No, I'm just.
That was a great example.
I love you because you're a human being and you're here and you're, but I don't respect you because of this, or, this is the way you live your life, and
Sure.
I don't agree with that, so I don't want you to be a part of mine. Like, I think there's a 5 degrees of separation.
100%. That's true. Yeah, temper your love with good judgment, and setting proper boundaries. And if somebody's toxic to you, get them the fuck out of your life.
Yeah.
But go save that dog that's hungry and cold. Like that. like let's go that way.
Casey, what's on your mind?
I do this now. It's a new thing I started doing with every guest. Earth is being colonized, or Mars is being colonized. One-way ticket. I'm going. I got a few other people going with me. You want to go?
No, I'm good.
Okay. That's
Yes.
my first
Yeah.
no.
Woo!
That's my first no.
Damn, freaking right.
I had Hannah Grant and Vari.
I want to say something. When you present it to somebody like that and go, "Hey, you want to go on this really cool ride?" People are usually going to go, "Okay, sure, why not?" But when you go, do you want to go to a cold, oxygenless, barren, disgusting, freezing wasteland
it's already being colonized, so it's already ready for people to come and hang out.
You can love those people and still not respect
You're going
their
to die
judgments.
on Mars in this weird, cold, rocky.
Yeah,
barren
but you know
wasteland.
what? I get to die on Mars. How many people get to say that?
I'd rather just.
I mean, probably a lot.
At that point, probably.
yeah. I think I'd rather just have a burger than go die on Mars. Okay, it wouldn't take a lot for me to go. Can we just get coffee?
That's a weird comparison.
Oh God, Casey! Everyone dies eventually. You're starting to bring me over to your side. Why
Like-
does it matter where you die?
I feel like Spencer's been trying to end this episode for 30
No,
Tough shit.
no. I just that,
Like you saying,
I
I'd
think
rather
the
eat
idea-
a burger than go live on Mars.
Yes.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
If Leslie
I'll
were to
say
say, I'd rather eat a burger than go live on Mars, since she's vegetarian, that makes sense. But you saying, I'm like, yeah, so
Like-
we eat burgers all the time.
But
Like-
that's
You can't
how
have burgers on Mars.
if you were to
little
go,
it matters.
do you want to go to Mars or maybe just an episode of New Girl? I'd be like, turn on Netflix.
I'd rather go to Mars.
What?
Yes.
I love it too. It's
So
it's the funniest show.
I love Zoe
I've heard.
Deschanel.
Well, no, okay. So I've heard that Zoe Deschanel is actually like a huge bitch in real life.
I could see that.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see it. I think she's like the fourth most funny person on the show, though.
Yeah.
I like the guy
Like
that was in Jurassic World.
Dude, the
that's on
supporting cast on New Girl is the funniest thing ever.
Jake Johnson.
Jesus Christ,
I love
he
Jake
was also
Johnson.
he was in Safety Net
What's
Guaranteed too.
the
When he's
one
being
that's-
cradled by the
Schmidt.
old Chinese man.
yes, he
Funny.
is my favorite.
Just the funniest creature that ever existed. Amazing, hilarious. So yeah, check out. For your Valentine's Day plans. If you guys aren't doing anything, you're staying in. Put on some episodes of New Girl.
watch New Girl.
Laugh your ass
Yeah.
off.
I feel like this episode we should have talked. I mean, Leslie's such a horror movie fan. We could have talked about Starry Eyes.
That's
Like
part
she's
two.
someone that's
Starry
also
Eyes is so
Starry Eyes.
good.
Did you see it?
Yes.
I loved it.
Starry Eyes is so
It's
good. I own it.
No shit.
Yeah,
You're,
Yeah.
same director is doing Pet Cemetery,
I
which
didn't
is
know
awesome.
that actually. I never really liked Pet Cemetery. I'm sorry. I know that you guys love it, but
well,
it
I
was
did-
just super corny. To
I
me.
love the first one just because it dealt with all these like death concepts and like the whole idea behind it.
This episode going.
Well, but
It's gonna be like a 3-hour episode.
we're already like real far. But I was sort of like, no, they don't need to remake it. It's going to suck. And then I found out the Starry Eyes director is doing the new one,
Yeah.
and so it gave me hope. And
Hey, Casey, since the episode's ending, do you want to go to Mars, buddy?
Yes, I want to go to Mars. Of course I do.
Let's go.
Or look, I don't. It doesn't have to be Mars. If there could be space, no. Yes.
No! Going to Mars! Going to Mars! Going so far, I'm gonna die on a cold rock.
Did you